So quick reminders for you guys, 还没有跟踪我们 IG 的朋友，记得到 Pitch It to My Face 来锁定更多的专业沟通相关的知识哦。那希望支持我们 Podcast 制作的朋友们，也可以买杯咖啡 support 我们在 Podcast 的 journey。那所有的连结都在我们的 description box, so happy learning! 上次跟大家分享过了不同简报的 openings，那就让我们继续学习简报的架构跟语言的小技巧。那在这一集就让我们专门来谈谈 persuasive presentation。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管双语沟通力的 podcast。我们希望带给大家最实用的沟通工具，包括了成功人士对全球市场的分享、职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。Hi, I'm Sherry, founder of Executive Plus. As a language trainer and certified coach, I've trained hundreds of managers from Fortune 500 companies such as Dior, Google, Deloitte, and Yahoo.
And I'm Nick, Director of Communication Strategy at Presentality. I've helped startups raise millions of US dollars in funding and train the executives of publicly listed companies to present on the global stage.
Welcome to the Executive Plus podcast,
where you can take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Executive Plus podcast episode. Over the next 4 episodes, we're going to expand upon the idea of how to give the body of a presentation after you've used one of our 4 opening framings. This first week is going to be back to the idea of a persuasive presentation. And how do you frame out the body or the content of your presentation in order to be more persuasive?
那还记得我们在之前的单元之中，我们已经跟大家介绍不同方式，有4种不同的简报开头。现在我们要回来咯，那我们回来开始要讲的就是我们的架构跟有一些什么样子的语言的 takeaway. What we're going to do with these 4 episodes is that we're going to introduce different framings and also some language takeaways for you guys.
The first framing that we want to talk about is the idea of when you're trying to persuade someone, most people use a basic problem solution format. Like, here's the problem, here's a good way to do it, and here's some proof that it works. But a lot of times there are lessons or insights from the past or things that we can learn from other people or other companies to strengthen our own argument. And so, similar to that persuasive parallelism we talked about in openings as we do, they do, we're going to build that into the frame of our presentation from looking at, here's the problem, here's how other people solved that problem, but here's a different insight or a unique idea I have that's very different from others, and proof that it's going to work.
所以我们现在这个所谓的 framing， 我们就会利用，比如说不知道大家记不记得我们在做简报的开头的时候，我们用到了这种平衡的架构，提到了说我们怎么做跟别人怎么做是这种平衡。那我们现在也用类似的方式，也就是讲到了比如说这个 problem， 我们的现在的困难跟别人去怎么去解决，或者我们之前是怎么解决，然后呢才会带到我们现在这个解决的方式。
The framing is this very simple format. Step 1, talk about the problem that you're trying to solve. Step 2, talk about how other people are solving this problem, or potentially, what did your company do in the past that is no longer working today? Then the third step will be your insight, your new or unique idea that changes the way we think about this thing. And the last step is prove or try and find some way to show that you believe it will work or it is working going forward.
所以我们现在有简单的4步骤。第一个步骤也就是要解释说你现在要解决的困难。第二个，别人是怎么解决，或者你之前是怎么解决的。第三个，也就是你特殊的看法，你的 insight。And number 4, 也就是最后一个，也就是一个你的 proof， 你的证据是什么。We're going to take a look at an example that we actually use in our presentation opening. which is going green. So in the office, we going to lay out our problem first, right? Step 1, 我们的 problem. We can say, we need to go green, but getting our colleagues to embrace the goal is difficult. And our system and SOP were built around paperwork for the last 20 years or so. So that is really the bulk of our problem right now.
Part of being persuasive is being more specific to your own problem. A lot of people would say we need to go green because it's better for the environment and we're trying to save the whales. This is true, but that doesn't address what the problem within your company happens to be. When you're solving out the problem, be specific to what's the issue you're having. A lot of companies' entire SOP, their filing system, their product management system is all built around paperwork. So if we go digital or we go green, what we're actually overcoming is a habit that we as a company created.
Right. 所以这个时候其实会深深的感受到有很多的 pushback, right? You're changing the system, there's always going to be someone that's not going to be happy about it. And that's exactly the problem because you're changing their way of working. You're changing their SOP.
Now that you've addressed the problem, many people would default to talking about the solution. But in order to be persuasive, we also want to recognize that there are many ways of doing it, and that there may be a problem with the other ways of doing it. So this is a time to address that. I could say, many companies would just enforce change and make employees go cold turkey on printing documents. This looks good in the public press, but it creates a lot of internal discontent because people are used to doing things their way.
Basically, instead of just talking about your solution right away, you're actually using what other people are doing and other people's kind of experience to prove that your new way, it's better, right?
Right. I mean, this would be a great place in your presentation to also very quickly, but go, I researched company A, this is what they did. Company B, this is what they did. Company C, this is what they did. But I don't either agree with any of their ways or I have trouble seeing how their ways can adopt to our company.
所以就是很清楚的 point out 别人在解决这个问题的时候，他们的做法是不适用的，或者就是提出一些证据 right? 就是让大家知道说，其实这个方法，这种解决的方式是不行的，不 OK 的。Alright, so that's number 2, right? Creating that discontent. 那我们第3个，也就是我们刚刚讲的，就是 your insight, 你的特殊的这个看法。
So with your insight, you can take lessons from what other people are doing, or you can talk about why what other people are doing don't apply to your company and share your special angle. So your insight may be, I believe iterative change will help increase willingness to adopt new policies. And I have built an incentive program for those people who want to adapt faster.
所以这个部分也就是去提供说我们现在一个新的想法，我们新的一种解决这个问题的方式，也就是更好的、最好的解决这个问题的方式 right?
Right. So the insight is a lot of people do environmental change because it looks good as a company, right? And the newspapers say we're going green, but that causes a lot of problems internally. So this true policy should be about slow, iterative change. But for those people who really believe and want to go faster, I'm going to incentivize them. This is my insight or this is my angle.
So the last part, which is proof, 也就是你现在的证据，你提供出来怎么样去证明说你的方法是行得通的。So here we can say, we've already started the pilot program in the HR department, and the result looks promising with a 60% switch in just 2 months, right? You just give like a number, a percentage, and how many months, in what department, and just kind of really prove that this is something that's going to work.
And if you haven't actually built this program or you haven't done this thing inside your company yet, if you go back to here's what others do, potentially there's some good lessons you could have learned. This other company that's the same size of ours did a program like this and they were able to go green in half a year. You can use other people as proof that it works, but proof becomes really important. So the framing of your presentation goes to that simple format of problem, what other people are doing, what our unique insight or angle is, and then proof.
好，那现在我们知道 framing 的方式，我们架构我们的结构的方式了。那我们现在来谈谈我们的 language takeaway, right? So in terms of language, how are we going to help our listeners or our audience to understand our presentation better?所以有2个非常简单的方式。那第一个我们就要来谈谈 rhetorical question。那 rhetorical question 也就是那种你问你的听众，你问你的 audience 的一个问题，但是这个问题不需要他们马上回答，这个问题是要让他们自己去思考，让他们继续听你的 presentation， 去听到自己去抓这个的答案。So, where we can put our rhetorical question is after we talk about our problem. Right? 我们刚刚讲了，我们先讲我们的 problem， 再讲别人怎么样去 solve 这个 problem。那我们就在讲完我们这个大的这个问题，这个困难的时候，之后我们就可以接着一个 rhetorical question. For example, so what are the solution to these issues? So what are the solution to these issues?And then 我们讲完了别人怎么去解决这个问题的时候，之后呢，我们也可以接 So this is how others did it, but how well does it actually work?
Using this rhetorical question allows you to go from problem, rhetorical question, to other people, how other people do it, rhetorical question, to how we're going to do it. Now, you can use another language function by giving a counterintuitive statement.So let's say that we described what other people did, that they went to cold turkey. They just said, we're going digital, suck it up and deal with it. And then I want to go into my insight. Well, I could use a counterintuitive statement to talk about why my insight is different. So if I went from other people enforced by going cold turkey, counterintuitive. We found that employee feedback from going cold turkey is 80% negative, not because they don't want to go green, but because breaking a habit is too disruptive to their daily work. And then our insight. I believe slow iterative change will help willingness to adopt new policies, and there's an incentive program. So I use that idea of it's not employees don't care, it's that people don't like their habits being broken. So we're going to take time to develop new habits.
所以当你提出了一个跟预期相反，就是 counterintuitive 的 statement 之后呢，你就直接的再去讲说你的 insight 是什么，你的 solution 是什么。So all of these, it's gonna make your presentation a lot more persuasive.
So we hope that next time you're developing out your persuasive presentation, you'll look through the framing and you'll look through using rhetorical questions or counterintuitive statements to separate out these 4 framing blocks. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
如果你喜欢我们的 podcast， 欢迎来追踪我们的主管英文 Executive Plus 的 Facebook。那也可以写信到我们的信箱yourcareerplus@gmail.com